Why do I feel like we're going back in 2018 or something like that? I don't know why it's just me. But the next story that is not Bakugo related is an Izawa one. It is plot relevant to another story that has Bakugo in it and a lot of other characters in it. So I will be reading that one. So I hope you guys enjoy this Demon King Shoto and Fallen Angel listener. So let us continue. Angels, messengers, and servants to their respective gods and goddesses. The gods watched over the earth and kept the demons and the underworld lord's endeavor locked away. Even though he was never able to conquer conquer the earth, he did manage to create discourse among the gods, causing them to do nasty and cruel things to each other, like a popular story of Yin, the angel, and Shoto, the demon king. I think Narturi, the goddess of love and soulmates, wanted to seek revenge on Palma, the goddess of war and riches, for messing with her with matchmaking. Nartura fated two humans to fall in love and to end a violent war, but Palma loathed that idea and sent an assassin to kill the other half, causing the war to stretch on for years. This angered Natar, so she fated Palma's favorite angel Yin to the demon king Shoto. One day, one of Yin's wings turned charcoal black. The other angels at first were cautious of this paranoia, but soon they learned why. Yin soon would find herself alone and ostracized, even losing her status and favor from Palma. Palma could no longer look at Yin. She could only see her in disdain, knowing one of her angels was destined to be concurring with her greatest enemy. So in shame and pure anger, Palma locked Yin away in a cage and hid her deep in one of her temples. "No, Lady Palma, what did I do wrong?" Yin cried out from the bird-like cage. As she watched her goddess lock her away into the deepest, darkest place of her temple, Yin sat in a cage in complete darkness for years and years. Till one day the temple was raided by devil worshippers, allowing Endeavor to roam the temple. As he wandered the temple, he stumbled upon almost all hidden part of the doors. The doors led to a long, winding staircase, and at the very bottom was a cage. As Yin noticed the descending figure, she quickly tried to sink into the furthest part of her cage. Endeavor smiled cruelly as he stared at the helpless angel. He reached into the cage and grabbed Yin's pure white wing. As he gave it a painful squeeze, Yin cried out in pain as his fingers lit up in flames, burning her once snow-white feathers. "Where's your goddess now, angel?" Endeavor laughed. As he explained this sad creature, he noticed her one charcoal wing and quickly knew why she was locked away. So fated to love with a demon, huh? How pathetic. Fallen angels aren't true beings that belong in the underworld, though you'd make a perfect pet for my son, he said, opening the fiery portal to the underworld, and pulled her in. Yin opened her eyes to see she wasn't in the temple anymore. She was in an empty room. The halls were made out of stone, and she felt something squeezing around her neck. It felt like a collar. It jiggled as she felt the bell. As she looked around the room, the door opened suddenly. At the door stood a fallen angel, but an angel that Yin recognized. He was once an angel that served the god of the night, Kabu, the angel Izawa. Yin remembered him when she was younger, but he definitely changed. His wings were disheveled and unkempt, along with the rest of his appearance. His wings were scorn black and looked frail. not like before when they were pure white and strong. Looking him over, it seemed like he was wearing a collar as well. Elder Izawa, Yin stuttered as she quickly bowed in respect. There is no need for that here. Our titles mean nothing to the demons, he said pitifully. Demons? Yin asked, extremely confused. Lord Endeavor brought you here as a pet for his son. I was ordered to bring you, Izawa explained. I'm not no pet. I don't know how, but my bunny unplugged my mic. We love Willow, don't we? But let me continue. I am no pet, Yin shouted as she backed away. It's not like we have a choice, he said, pointing to his collar. Yin's collar glowed red as she cried out in agony and withering on the ground. Izawa closed his eyes and looked away, fading his own collar nervously. Soon Yin's screams died down as she sat on her knees. If you're done, then we should go, he said as he turned to leave. Yin quickly got up and followed close behind him. As they traveled through many halls and bridges, Yin soon asked, Why did you become a fallen? I thought you were very loyal to Kuma, the god of the night sky, Yin asked slowly. Asawa's feathers puffed up, with his wings scratched sides. His eyes glowed a deep red. Anger, deep sadness could behind those eyes. Kumu is not my god. He will never replace Elena, my moon goddess. By the way, this is also plot relevant to the story that will come after this one, kind of. Aizawa sneered. Elena, you mean from the fable love story, Elena, the moon goddess, and Hawks, the sun god? Yin asked. At one point in time, that was the gospel truth, until Komu took over, Aizawa said. Took over? Right, you're still young. Gods are born into their roles, but they can gain more power defeating other gods and taking their divine power. Kuma was once a god of the stars and astronomy, but he grew jealous of Elena and slay her for her power and worshippers. When I refused to serve, he stripped me away of my power, and I became a fallen, Aizawa explained. So why are you here of all places? You were forced here too? Yin asked. Of course, when we're fallen, we have no longer have power over the demons, so we are at their mercy, and fallen here are seen to be servants and pets in their eyes. Soon the angels came to the dining hall. As the head of the table sat Endeavor, and on his left was his son. Yin could feel her heart flutter in her chest as she saw the handsome prince. It looked like he was split red down to the middle. One side of his hair was white while the other side was red. Even his eyes were mismatched, and he had a large scar on his left eye of his face. I learned that his name was Shoto Todoroki, and I was his servant, or pet. For the most part, he really never talked to me, spoken when spoken to, I guess. Yet, he would comment and rant about everything to me, and I simply just liked to listen with a smile. Shoto was a lot kinder than Endeavor, that's for sure. Shoto made me feel special. When he confided in me, and oh my god, I cannot speak today or read. Gave me astonishment, I think, gave me small smiles of accomplishment, of patience. He was quiet and calm, cool-headed. It made my love for him only grow more over the years. How was your meeting, Shoto? Yin asked. Yin was sitting on Shoto's bed and folding his clothes when Shoto walked in with a sore look. Awful. My father wants me to marry to another demon, preferably a princess, underworld god, or another powerful demon, Shoto sighed as he sat on his bed. Shoto stretched and laid down, resting his head on Yin's lap. Yin blushed as she hesitantly stroked Shoto's hair. As she did, Shoto looked over Yin's burnt wing. A lot of her feathers were missing, and those that remained were charred and badly damaged. Endeavor made sure she would never regrow her feathers, making sure she was permanently flightless, just like every other demon who owns a fallen angel. They make sure to clip their wings in the shape or form. Well, I'm sure you'll find your soulmate. Maybe they'll be powerful too, Yin said, even though she felt like a knife was stabbed in her heart. Ooh, I lost my place. Nartia doesn't give demons soulmates, and if she did, it was probably to get back at someone, or even torment some poor humans. Shota laughed. Oh, Yin said as she stared out the window. As of late, Shoto noticed that Yin had been spacing out more and more. Lately, she had seemed staring endlessly at the great British sky. The Frucius was the second way to the surface. Yin's wings would twitch every so often. So in secret, Shoto brought Yin to the surface for a little while. Yin at first simply stared in awe at the beautiful blue sky that she was locked away from for years. Soon she was running everywhere and rolling in the beautiful meadows. Shoto simply smiled as he watched her make a flower crown for her and him. Yin's pure and blissful smile made Shoto's heart soar as he laid next to her. Yin quickly got up and twirled in joy, and not paying attention to where her feet were going. Stepping in an unexpected rock, Yin quickly lost her balance. Shoto reached out to help her, only to get pulled into a lake with her. Opening his eyes, Shoto found himself hunched over Yin, his hands on both sides of her head and the right knee beside her legs. Though Yin was too busy laughing to notice as she rolled onto her side, Shoto smiled as he sat up and watched her stand to stretch her hands high over her head as she smiled at the sky. Her wings opened wide and gave one powerful flap. Shoto sat there, confused at first, and soon watched the joy leave Yin's face as her hands fell back to her sides, her head low as her wings drooped down in defeat. With a sigh, Shoto guided her back to the fusion and returned to the underworld. But things didn't really return to normal as Yin continued to long for the surface. This behavior did not go unnoticed by Endeavor, as he questioned his son about his quote-unquote pet. You took her to the surface, didn't you? When I told you not to. You were lucky her wings were clipped, or else she would have flown away, Endeavor sneered at his son. She wouldn't have flown away from me, Shoto snapped. Are you sure about that? There are very flightly creatures, Endeavor asked. Shoto opened his mouth and snapped back, but stopped when he thought back to Yin flapped her wings. Was she trying to fly away? He thought to himself. Endeavor smiled cruelly at his son, uncertainly. Fallen angels are that way for a reason. They will do whatever it takes to free themselves, Endeavor said as he left the dining hall. He ordered Izawa to clean it up, and Izawa quickly got to work. As Shoto sat, Izawa decided to speak up. Fallen are not angels, aren't meant to stay on the ground. We have wings for a reason. Not using them is trying to ignore their very nature, like clipping a bird's wings and keeping them in a cage, telling them they can no longer fly, he said simply. As he watched Izawa, he noticed his wings could twitch ever so often, like he was anchoring to fly once again. Yet that thought of letting Yin go broke Shoto's heart. So he shoved those thoughts to the very back of his mind and ignored Yin's sad demeanor. Yet once in a while he would catch her plucking some of her feathers, and sometimes he would see the same thing from Izawa. But He ignored it all and continued his day. Soon, the day of the ball came. Demons all over the underworld came to the castle in hopes to impress the future king. Yet Shoto found himself bored and unimpressed with any of the ladies that came to show off. Shoto only had eyes for Yin as she waved through the crowd offering drinks and snacks. Every so often, one of the guests would roughly pluck a feather from her wing, causing her to yelp in pain. This would tick Shoto off as he watched this continue throughout the night. As I was about to head back up the ballroom, Mr. Izawa stopped me and took care of my shift. I smiled greatly at him. I wandered around the place. I wasn't expecting to see Shoto wandering the castle too, as he seemed to be looking for someone. "Excuse me, Shoto? Have you lost something?" I asked him with a smile. "No, I found her," he said. He smiled slightly as he gently grabbed my arms. "Oh, what is it that you need?" I asked with a smile. He stares into my eye-colored eyes as I slowly get lost in him, and he pulls me closer. I want to show you something," he whispered as he opened up a portal. On the other side of the portal was a large, pavilion made of diamonds. In the middle was a large pool of pure silver liquid. I remember legends of the pool of life in the underworld. The liquid could heal any wound, cure any antidote of any kind. I stood there and turned to Shoto, wondering why he wanted to show me this. Shoto slowly approached me and led me to the pool. With the golden goblets near the pool, he scooped a cup full and poured the liquid on my damaged wing. My feathers started to glow as my burnt wings started to regrow, feathers and bones mending into place. Shoto watched in awe as Yin's wings stretched out wide and strong. Her ash-colored burnt wing soon turned purely white. She stared at her wing. One side was snow white, while her other beautiful charcoal black. Yin quickly turned around with a bright smile on her face. "Thank you, Shoto," Yin thanked. Yin was in awe as he failed to notice a drop of life water drip from the cup onto his hand. He screamed out in pain as it was forbidden for demons to touch the water. Yin quickly ran over to him and used her powers to heal Shoto. "So, you're not really a fallen angel?" Shoto asked. "I might as well be," Yin smiled as she gave him a peck on the cheek. "I love you, Shoto." Yin gasped as Shoto pulls her into a tight hug as he buries his face into her shoulder. Yin happily returned his hug. When she noticed he had a backpack on him, suddenly a portal opened up underneath them as they were shot into the surface world. "Shoto, what are you doing?" Yin asked in shock. "Escaping with you," Shoto said as he took off his bag, revealing gold and diamonds stolen from the Lord Endeavor. Yin gasped in shock and worry for Shoto. If Endeavor finds out what Shoto had done, he will receive more than just a scar. Like last time, "I'm willing to follow you to the ends of Earth, 'cause if we stay in the underworld, they'll take you away from me," Shoto sighed as he pulled Yin close. "Everything that makes me whole, I'll give all to you, my heart and soul. I'm yours, Prince Shoto," Yin smiled. Holy moly, I'm still impressed. My bunny was like, "Oh hey, we're gonna unplug your mic." Wee-hee!